I got some requests to do a better video on the Stonehenge site, so I'm going to kind of try to walk you through it the best I can. I know I kind of dart around because it's a big subject. First I want to talk about the Ark of the Pillars site that is missing, that everybody is looking for, that you see all the movies written about. And the Ark of the Covenant is like Ark, we think electrical ark. It actually has the rod and the staff from the Bible and various other religions. And it has to do with the Kelon codes, like Kelontic communication, the Ark of the Fleece, the Ark of the, it's like the invisibility cloak, the Ark of the Shield, which is, a shield, and then the gateway into the halls of Amenti, and there are several different stargates, different types of things like everywhere. They're all for different things. Some of them are for pins that they use in the Becca code of the earth and the shield, and others are to travel, just like stargates, like portals. So I have some information. I'm going to do a separate show called Ark of the Covenant, and I'll read these, so you'll be able to look at that. Excuse me. If you do any research on Jehoshua 9, the Avatar Jehoshua 9, it'll say that he made it to all 12 stargates, but was diverted or whatever. And then there's the 13th pillar site, which is a really big deal. So I found this on the internet. This is a diagram from Stonehenge of the 13th pillar site. And so where we're at is this right here. Goes around. I think that's when it goes around. I had it all mapped out. It was a couple days ago. Anyways, there's 13. There's only 2 here like this, and then it goes around. And if you look at the other videos, you'll see the videos of where I show those pillars are actually, they're not cement and they're not wood. They're actually like a rubber, insulation. So there's that, and then we have the star in the center, of course. And this is also, there's a water thing that goes down to the water at the site, and there's stones, the big stones that are everywhere around the entire site. There's these big stones everywhere, and they come out of the side of the river. So that's that. And then here's another of Stonehenge. Okay, and then here we have the horseshoe, the way they're doing it, and the bench, what the bench is. Or these are like these stone things that I keep seeing everywhere around there. They're everywhere. They're placed very strategically throughout the place. And like I said, a lot of people that live in the area, you can hear them doing their like weird chanting. It sounds like, I'll do it for you. It sounds like it's like backwards Catholic masses. So here is the Tree of Life. And I got this one on the internet for educational purposes, of course. And you'll see that the whole thing that they're using is actually the entire Tree of Life. But the main point that I wanted to center on was this, that they're doing that they're using the center for, whatever they're using it for. If they're using it for child sacrifice or bloodletting or whatever they're doing, they're definitely doing magic there. But and then every single rock, I want to go through this so you understand. This is where you would enter in, and they might be using it reverse because that's what black magicians do. And then this stone is green, this stone is blue, and then this stone is blue again. And then you go to the other side, and all the stones are red, orange, and dark red or Dionysus grapes. And then these are just, and this one's black asphalt. This one's actually on the black asphalt, and then there's an arrow that shows you where to stand. So this was actually on the black asphalt. So even it correlates with the color of each Sephiroth. So you go up through here, and those are the spots. There's a bench here with an altar, and then there's this like the bloodletting center, and then down you go further where the trees are, and it's actually connected by trees. So if you look at Stonehenge, you'll see columns. The columns are trees, and then right here is connected to here through trees. It's it's perfect. I've been there a dozen. We swim there and run there all the time. And the symbol I have shown you, which is this one right here, and I drew in the star. But that shows you that that's what it is. That is on the sign, on the road sign. It says this symbol in like a pretty mosaic piece. But so this is the symbol. It shows the spiral. So I'm going to show you this and the spiral mixed together. You're going to love this. This is great. I'm not making this up, people. I'm not making it up. I didn't make up this site. It's down the street from my house. I didn't make the place up. This is the star and the spiral together. And what do you see? A staircase and a spaceship and some David Koresh guy. So there you go. There's the combination of the two symbols. The spiral that's there and then plus the tetragram. Okay? And then the point within the center. You cannot, this is the most important part. Okay, so next to the section right here. Let's see, I have to be able to look. There's a column of trees. And they're right there. See the column? These are part of Stonehenge, the Stonehenge site. So here's a teardrop, and this is old pictures they have on Google. So it has like Kundalini snakes that go up like this, all the way. It's just like Washington, D.C. This has the stamp in Washington, D.C. So, right, to make sure I know I'm here. Right here, and this is on the northwest corner. So right here, see where this it's nothing right now. Now it looks like this. So now it looks like this, and here's the site where Kepher is, or it could be Kepher, it could be a different Sephiroth, but regardless, here's where it is. The teardrop shape is here, okay? And then there's a teepee over here, which is funny too, and another Sephiroth, and then right here there's a circle of 6 trees now. And you can see in this illustration right here through Google, in this picture, that there's no complete circle of 6 trees. And that one in the middle, I think they moved it to right there to make the center. So, pretty obvious. Let me show you that again. This is Astrum Argentum. So here are the other pictures for the site. I don't think we're going to see those ones. But I do want to talk about the name of the river is St. John's River. And a lot of people around here, they don't give it any mind at all. It's just St. John's River. We just think it's St. John's. It's off Lover's Lane. You know, everybody goes there to hang out or whatever. And there's a beach and it's water. And we like walk down the water. It's cool. But I want to read the St. John's Day because it's very important to the Masons. And I got this off of Masonic software. Again, I should have on the other one. Let me look it over. So they can't, they have to fulfill the tradition of the ritualistic requirements. The craft holds dear to the day of St. John the Baptist on June 24th and St. John the Evangelist on December 27th. A lodge which forgets either forfeits a precious link to the past and loses an opportunity for the renewal of allegiance for everything in Freemasonry, symbolized by these patron saints. So essentially, they're forfeiting like everything in their trade, everything in their craft, if they don't fulfill their ritualistic, traditional, and custom historical requirements. These are like unaffiliated lodges. There's like a story of a St. John's Mythical lodge that was built, but it was built and then it kept falling down. They weren't able to keep it afloat, or standing up. And if you, at this site, the St. John's website, and I need to go and take pictures of each stone, and I will, so that you can see each stone and read it for yourself. But each stone has a story of the Masons when they came here, and essentially, how they built Visalia, which is Tree City, USA. So when they came to Tree City, they tried to build their first lodge here. This is where they tried to build their first lodge and building. But since this is like sacred Native American land, it's marshy. It's a swamp. It's actually real swampy, and so it's all tall grass. So they weren't able to build their lodge. So it's just been a weird ritualistic place. So I happen to know a Mormon family that lived down the street, and her name was Holly, and she told me several times that they saw men with black coats with like bonfires doing satanic rituals out there along that river, but that was out more towards Cutler. I ran into a guy named, I won't say his name, I ran into a guy the other day at the park, and I talked to him, and he said that he believed what I was saying because he saw them out there, and when he was in the military, he walked in a big house, and he walked in on a guy, and they were, it was a military thing, they were drinking on leave, and or whatever, and stumped into a room they weren't supposed to be in, and they were a bunch of men standing around in black coats, and he said the next day that there was a baby in the river. So, something to do with canals and rivers. But, so this is really interesting if you can find this St. John's Day, because this is a it's startling. This is a stargate portal, and a friend of mine named Scott, actually about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, actually, we heard them start this site. We actually heard them start it, and there's nothing, let me tell you, there's nothing like the moment when you're standing outside talking about, like, Eden and religion and spirituality, and then suddenly hear a spaceship above you, and you've never heard a spaceship before, but we did not know how to explain what we had heard. We stood there for several seconds, several minutes. He looked at me and said, they don't want us talking about it. It was really funny. But truly, I don't know why it did that, but it was everywhere. It was a sound that I can't explain. It was definitely a sound that I can't explain. And he said too, he said, it's the weirdest thing he's ever heard. He's never been able to explain it ever. So this definitely is a site that is being used for the cabal. Let me just say the cabal, because they're not really a religious group, and they're not really a political group. I mean, they're really just like an infiltration group. So, I mean, I guess there's an off chance that the Arbor Day Tree Foundation is a group of upstanding citizens. I start laughing when I say that, because the police, I was working with the police, and they basically like took all my information at the end. They were like, well, just let go of this and don't lose any more sleep at night, which is weird because I wasn't losing any sleep at night. And I was like, okay. And so then they follow me to the site all the time. They've been waiting there for me a couple times. I've linked several people that I know personally to this occult, and they just, as soon as I link people to the occult, they just drop me. They don't talk to me anymore. I don't have to say, hey, are you, or hey, or this. I just stop hearing it. It's like somebody lets them know, hey, she knows you, she knows who you are. Don't talk to me anymore, or like lay off, because then suddenly I don't hear from them forever. So I want to get into, that's just basically the site. I'm going to do another video on the churches that are involved, but that's just basically the Stargate, the portal. You can check out my other videos. I'm just going to be adding videos every couple days. I'll put a new video on that details how the Stargates are used. If you want to know about the Stargates, just watch the show. I would say watch the show. That's probably your best bet, and never forget when you're watching that show that Richard Dean Anderson was made an honorary brigadier general by the United States Air Force, and that is like making Neil Patrick Harris a doctor for being Doogie Howser. That makes no sense. How could he? I mean, that's even worse. That's a general in the military. That's a military. I mean, there's lots of quack doctors and not a lot of quack military people. So that to me was really strange and interesting. And also they do a show about how they let somebody do a show about their program because they want to be able to say, if anybody ever finds out about it, oh, you just saw that on that show. And then Samantha Carter or Amanda Tapping, when she's going up the elevator, she's like, da-na-na-na-na. You know, she's doing the whole Stargate theme song. And that's the joke, that a guy found some stones at a yard sale, and they made him change consciousness with these people and or just see their missions that they were going to off-world. So that's a cool show. I'm really glad that I've been able to see all of those 3 or 4 times and remember them all. And when I started learning all this stuff, I was able to kind of, you could flip a lot of the information around because all disinformation. So once you learn such the truth, you're gonna go, oh, okay, the Air Force is trying to spin it like this, or, you know, the Masons, you know, obviously. But so that's what I have to say. Watch Stargate, you know, I don't know, Twilight Zone, Sliders, any sci-fi really, where they've got like Stargates or portals, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything. I mean, the science fiction writers out there are not brilliant writers. They are brilliant storytellers of truth. So it's something I like to call science faction. And I recently was talking to a military, retired, I think, colonel, and he said he was writing a book. It's a science fiction book with a military perspective and military spin. And I laughed and said, oh, you mean science faction? And he goes, yeah. So interesting. anyways, that's my video. If you have any other questions about it, let me know. I can do little notations and answer your questions like that. And I don't really have anything else to say. That it is a stargate, it is a portal, it is the Ark of the Covenant, 13-pillar site. I know people personally that are involved in the black coats that meet there. I have been threatened for finding it, and I was told to leave it alone. And 2 people have called and tried to find out where my daughter was. It's weird stuff, just really weird stuff. But it is connected to the mob and the mafia, human trafficking, the occult, and the churches in town. All the churches. I'm not just bashing Christian churches or anything like that. It's all the churches. I went to the Buddhist temple a couple weeks ago, and they have a giant, 2 Japanese symbols, giant. So they would not tell us what the symbols meant. They would not. But they're covering the lotus tree of the flower of life. Like, why would you cover, on this giant golden temple, why would you cover the flower of life? That makes no sense, because they're dharma. So that's a whole other video, but, you know, enlightenment is unattainable. I vow to attain it. That's the whole thing. Why would you cover that? So that's my video. 16 minutes. I'll probably cut it off, but if I don't, thanks. And let me know anything else that you want to know. It's a lot to go over, so I can't just like make a video, but if you ask questions, I would love to answer the questions. Thank you.